This is the Ninja's Way podcast, where we talk all things ninja industry, ranging from top-tier athletes to the local ninja entrepreneur. Listen to their journey to success as they conquer obstacles in ninja and in life. This is the Ninja's Way. Welcome back, everybody, to the Ninja's Way podcast. I'm here with Justin Conway from World Ninja Sport today, and I'm super excited to chat with him about his journey of being a ninja entrepreneur. So let's hop right in here. Well, take me back. What was the very first interaction that you've ever had with ninja?
Sure. Yeah, great. I love talking about this story because it means a lot to me. When my son was a lot younger, so I have a 21-year-old son now. He's in the Air Force, but when he was a wee lad, I would cook dinner every night and then dessert, we would watch something on TV, right? We would hit the couch and we would sit together and watch something while we had our dessert. And then one night we were flipping through and I came across Ninja Warrior Sasuke on G4. So G4, many ninja fans probably would know, maybe not so much the newer ninjas, but back in the day, the way ninja came over to the US is Sasuke is a long-running Japanese show. It had always been shown in Japan, and then the US decided to air it on this small cable network, G4, where it was overdubbed. You could hear the Japanese announcers. The water was muddy. It's not like all the glamorous the way American Ninja Warrior looks today, but I saw this. They called it Ninja Warrior for the US version, and I saw this and thought, this is actually legit. I want to do this. This is awesome. How do I get involved? And in that same episode, they showcased Levi Muenberg, who is a parkour free running practitioner, or was at the time, like one of the biggest in the world. And that was my first introduction also to parkour. So this is about 13, 14 years ago that this all occurred, right? So nobody in the US really knew what ninja was, and parkour was still budding. And so it was this TV show that I was just sitting there eating a brownie or a cookie with my boy that I saw. And I was like, I need to do this. And again, didn't really exist. People didn't know about it. From this point, I would go into a gym and I would tell them what I was trying to do. And they'd be like, what are you talking about? You're trying to do obstacles? Like nobody could comprehend. Every place that I went, I had to explain it. And actually, so that's a good segue into how did this start was there were no ninja obstacles. None of this existed. And so I had to start making my own. And in some way, that was also the birth of World Ninja Sport because I started making obstacles and training to be on the show.
So you were on the show, Justin? Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so I eventually got on it 3 times. So that year, I saw that they had an American version. And at the time, it was you would compete on a small challenge course in the US a little prior to my application. You would complete a challenge course in the US, and then if you made it, they would send you to Japan to go to the actual show. But they were in the process of moving that all to the US. And so the first of the official version of American Ninja Warrior in the US, where they had all the stages here, that was right around the time that I found out about it. So I applied to the show that year when I had learned about the show, and I got on. So they flew to Miami. The stories are crazy. They gave me, I think, 5 days notice or 4 days notice or something. They were like, congratulations, you're accepted. Get down to Miami. And it was like Thursday, and the show was shooting on Tuesday. So I had to book my flights. I had to take off of work and school and like all the things and make accommodations, got down there and competed. So I was on it 3 times, that being the first year. And then seasons 3, 4, and 5 basically are my three years that I was on.
That is some OG status there.
That's right. Back in the day when a jump to a cargo net was Ninja Killer.
Oh man, the Ninja Killers today are so much more complicated.
Yeah. Oh man, it was basic. Not undifficult. Like to be clear, the jump to the cargo was a crazy jump. And actually, if you go back to season 3, you'll see it's people are jumping the cargo net's like this. People are jumping to it, and they're just barely making it because it's so far. And then they would just like whip real hard and fall into the water. It was pretty spectacular because it was not easy. Yeah. But yeah, it was a jump to a cargo net. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles and stuff like today. Little by little, I just keep upping the ante, making it more spectacular. Yep.
So that kind of leads me to my next question here. All 3 of us are individuals that really saw ninja come onto the scene, evolve very quickly. Now there's this whole industry built off of it, right? Like you said, it's like none of this even existed, right? It's a question to both of you guys. Like, How do you think about the evolution of ninja as a sport and as an industry, and where do you see it going as a whole?
Oh, it's incredible. I think what we're doing right now is we're developing. So the sport was just accepted into the Olympics, right? We are developing a foundation for lifelong activity and sport that can go through the ages, it can go through the generations, and I'm super encouraged about what we see, especially because as things get mainstream, of course, you get people that come into the picture that are in it for the popularity of it or that don't really understand what it is as a sport. And there's a downside to that. But that's something that you have to just accept. It's like when people get upset when they compete on the show and they talk about how it works, the competition, the rules, and stuff like that. It's like, remember, at the end of the day, this is a TV show. They're not here for the sport. That's
Right.
not that. It's a TV show to NBC, and so there are certain things that come along with it. You just say, okay, that's just part of it. And I think holistically looking at the way ninja is progressing, you do have some of the more gimmicky ninja stuff that's popping up. You're seeing it in trampoline parks and stuff like that. It's almost encouraging because then what happens is your intelligent consumers will reach out to people like you guys and like us at World Ninja Sport. We're actual ninjas, right? Jake,
Yeah.
you're a ninja, man. You started doing this and you started the Conquer franchise because of your own passion. And so we're going to build better products, hands down. I mean,
Yeah.
and when people do their research, they're going to look at the gimmicky stuff that goes into a trampoline park, and they're going to look at our stuff and go, "Oh, wait, it looks the same, but it does not function the same.
Right.
This is different. One's meant for entertainment, and I still put that even in quotes because it's like how much fun you can have on it. But and then we do stuff for the sport. So I think the evolution of the sport is working its way through little natural kinks that are actually there's no other way to do it. This is going to happen, and I'm comfortable with that. And I think the Olympic opportunities, getting into collegiate sports, the way ninja gyms are across the entire world right now. I can go to France and train ninja if I want to. To think back 13 years when nobody knew what it was, and
Mhm.
now I can go to Germany, France, Egypt. Like there are ninja gyms all over the place now. It's incredible. We were there from the beginning, so it feels really rewarding to see this
Yeah.
massive growth.
Yeah, and to build on that, as the sport grows over the past 13, 15 years in the US and across the world, it's like that. You talk about the entertainment places like your trampoline parks, whatever that put some ninja in them. And people are like, oh, from a ninja, like a gym owner standpoint, hey, are you worried about so and so's they're putting ninja obstacles in their gym down the road or in their facility, whatever. And people that are into ninja, they know ninja, but it's still to the point where the common folk, like just the average person, really doesn't know what ninja even is yet. It's still like that. And from my perspective, looking at it, when we go into a new market, if there isn't ninja, it's harder to get the awareness of ninja out there. So that even when a trampoline park or something puts in ninja, we actually encourage it because it does bring more awareness to the sport of ninja or ninja training or ninja obstacles. And then in return, just like you said, they'll go on there, oh, this is cool. Then they'll start looking on their phone and then we pop up and they walk into one of our gyms. Oh, shit, this is actually a training facility. They notice the difference. And to your point, like some people just want to do the go and try a few things, whatever, that's fine. But when they do see it, they seek out the next step. And usually that draws them to places conquer or putting something in their backyard, their basement, or even trying to open their own gym. So
Exactly.
we're not even, it's not even a competitive thing at this point. It's just bringing more awareness.
It's a great point. There is super healthy competition amongst ninja gyms. So
Yeah.
for anybody who is considering there are already some ninja gyms nearby, or what do you do about competition and all those things? To your point, no, having a ninja gym nearby could actually be great for you. The students actually can go back and forth, and that helps stimulate a good ninja community. And yeah, it's the way the sport is actually growing. You'll see that ninja gyms pop up next to each other. They help each other grow and then even more, and they just continue to expand.
Not all gym owners probably have the same perspective as I do on that. Like we move a Conquer in a new area and there's a ninja gym. They usually aren't too stoked about it, but it's just I think it just helps the community grow.
If you're within a few minutes and you literally don't have enough in the population to handle the two gyms or whatever, I think there are exceptions, of course. And it's a reasonable concern to have for a gym owner, of course. And you should, like any competition, it should make you a little nervous, but that is actually what makes you a stronger. If you have zero competition, you're actually not getting stronger as a
Right.
business. I'm happy for my competition. It keeps me on my toes. I like to know what I need to do better. When people point something out, if we do something better, or if they're looking for something, I'm always jazzed about that because I'm like, great, we'll do that. Sure, I'll figure it out. Let's do it. It's a new, more creative and better way of doing something. And yeah, it's just your perspective on things. And yeah, there could be something bad, of course, right? You have students that leave one gym and go to another gym, but we're an awesome community, man. Hopefully everybody that's watching this has already experienced it. The ninja community is unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's so tight and people are cool.
So Justin, tell me, you got into ninja, just created this, captured your attention, right? And there was no gyms anywhere. You started building your own obstacles. Did you eventually become part of a gym? Like, what was your next step of becoming a ninja master trainer?
Ah, the roots. Yeah. Okay. So it started with, all right, so the stuff didn't exist, and I didn't even know of a gym to go to. I was not athletic at all at the time. Let's put it this way. I've always been athletic. I've always wanted to do sports and train and stuff like that. But at the time, I was a musician. I'm a musician. I had just dropped an album in 2010, and I was focused on my music career and had not worked out. I can't tell you how long. And so I didn't even know where to go, but I knew parkour was now a thing. So I started just jumping on and over anything I possibly could. I now had an excuse to be with my 5 or 7 year old son, whatever age he was at the time, to go into playgrounds and jump around with him and to not feel awkward. And I could just say it was parkour. So basically, I did parkour initially all over the place, however I could, and then would here and there make some little things. So hang a cliff hanger. I knew I had to work my cliff strength, right? I had to get a little grip action in there. So how do I do that? Initially, in my apartment in Queens, I would hang from the door sills, just above the door sill. In Queens, it was actually great. It was an old house, so it had a nice 1 inch ledge. It was really nice, but it was old and it was routed and it had paint on it. So it was actually really tough because you just sloped right off of it. So I had to have a full lock off on it and I had to keep my knees up to stay on it. And I would just dead hang for as long as possible in my door frame. And then eventually make something that I could take to a park and then throw it over the bar and then hang from a cliffhanger. So that was the initial year. Training for the first season that I competed on, season 3, American Ninja Warrior, through extensive Google searching, I eventually found out that there were maybe 2 gyms in the country at the time. The one that I found was Tempest Free Running Academy in California. And I found them because they had 3 obstacles. They had a warped wall, an ultimate cliffhanger, and a salmon ladder. The cliffhanger was the most legit. But anyway, because I knew I was planning to train on the show. I was hoping to get accepted. I flew to California for a week just to train on these 3 obstacles because it was the only place in the country to do a cliffhanger or that I knew of to do a warped wall. So that was the beginning process for me. It was parkour, fly to California to try 3 different obstacles. Then I came back and eventually found there was a gymnastics gym in East Rockaway called 5 Star Gymnastics Academy. I heard that they had a parkour program. So I went there and took a parkour class. It's really funny. So the guy who ran that class, amazing dude, who's one of my best friends today. His name is Dave. He ran the program there at 5 Star. He was my first instructor who taught me any parkour. He ended up eventually working for World Ninja Sport and has built with us. So that's like full circle on this whole thing. So the first gym that I ever went to do parkour, this guy Dave was there. Super strong parkour athlete. Guy's a beast. He taught us a class. We worked together. And so it was all parkour, but I got to know the community there. I got to know Dave. Eventually, they would let me come in and bring an obstacle or two that I would hang. And I would hang them over like a gymnastics bar or something like that. They had a rope that was over a foam pit. So I would constantly climb the rope. And when you're training for ninja, rope climbing it's stage 4, right? You have to practice your rope climbing. So I would go back to back. And I remember I had this funny video where I just ripped. I was doing laches from the gymnastics bars and I ripped. And then I started going at the ropes. And you can hear Dave in the background talking about it on the video because he's, what is he doing? He just ripped. And I'm just going on the rope. So that was it. It was just whatever gymnastics equipment there was. And then eventually they would let me hang some stuff. One day, I'm hanging some stuff. And this would happen on a regular basis, right? Where I would hang some stuff. Everybody in the gym would see me hang something and try maybe go through it a couple of times. And then they would start just flocking over. What are you doing? What is this? Can I try it? What is this thing? And there would be lines to try the obstacles, right? I would hang a cliffhanger board and I'd have a line of people that all wanted to try it. And so I'd give them a rundown. I'd tell them what they could try to do next, the different challenges, what I'm working on, watch your grip strength, watch slip hazards and stuff. Don't peel out. And then one day the gym manager came over and they're like, this is obviously awesome. Everybody's lining up to do this. Can you do this for us? I believe that's literally the words that they said. Can you do this for us? And I took that as start a whole ninja program. And I said to them, yes, but the initial thought immediately, I thought, yes, but I also have to train your staff because I can't just leave obstacles here and just like you guys wing it, right? Like we need to have foundation for training. So long story short, I don't know how short it was because that was a long story. But from here, I'll shorten it by saying they asked me to build a program. I built a lache rig that hung down from their ceiling so we can take gymnastic space, implemented some obstacles. I trained 10 of their instructors, including Dave. He got certified. And then they began to run ninja programs. And I would go out there all the time to run ninja programs in conjunction with this all happening. So that was my first program. That was the first official endeavor into building ninja. Brooklyn Zoo was the premier parkour academy in New York that had began to develop. 2014, I'd heard of Brooklyn Zoo. They had just opened parkour facility. I was connected through the WFPF with the owner of Brooklyn Zoo because they were looking to do something new and creative. And whether it was parkour or ninja, we wanted to get involved. Long story short, the owner of Brooklyn Zoo asked me to hold an event, a Ninja Warrior event. So I put on an event. People came from all over the country, basically, to try this event. It was a Ninja Warrior competition, the first legitimate one in New York. And then that steamed on from then. That was super successful. We would have hundreds of competitors. That was actually the birth. That was before any leagues existed. That was before the NNL, WNL, UNAA. Nothing existed. I was holding events in New York. And then from there, I eventually ended up on the board of the NNL, helped establish the NNL from the beginning. Man, I'm realizing there's so many roots. There's so many,
Yeah.
I could talk forever, but that
Yeah.
was the beginning right there. Is like the builds, the parkour stuff, the events, all just like community starting to do all the things all at once in New York.
So as that progressed and it kind of then the sport, like you say, around that time, it started to really kind of pop up throughout the country. At what point did you, because you were doing the ninja, that was your goal. You look younger than you are, and I'm sure you get that a lot. But when did it kind of shift for you from ninja to the business of ninja?
Yeah, good question. It was very organic. It was just, I would never say no to enabling somebody else to ninja. And in fact, so the way this has progressed for me is when I'm in the gym and I hang some ninja obstacles, if somebody else comes over and they want to train with me or they want to know how to do something or whatever, I would always immediately switch into coach mode. I would immediately be showing them how to go through, how to rearrange stuff. It would become more of a lesson than my own training. So I go into 5-star. By the way, this would be late night sessions usually. We would get there at 10 p.m., would be training until 4 a.m. sometimes on a Tuesday. These were late night sessions. And people would just come up.
It's such a ninja thing to do too.
Yeah, totally. And yeah, that community too, man. I'd love to touch on that community. So that was the roots for Joe Capo, Abby Clark. They started in my home gym, 5-star. Their first obstacles ever that they touched was at our events. And so that was my training crew was Joe Capo, Abby Clark, Connor Galvin. That was the three pretty regulars. And then it was Joe and Abby every night. And this guy, Zach Siegel, also, who would come by all the time. And so, yeah, we would be getting it in late night. We would be hanging out whatever we could throughout the night. The point was if anybody else came over at any point, I wanted to not only include them, but my brain would immediately switch and I would want to do that almost more. Or if the guys came up with an idea or I came up with an idea, I would be rigging. And I realized at some point I'm inherently drawn to that. Like I won't say, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm going to train. I came there to train. I mean, it's nighttime or whatever. I came there to train and I'm serious about my training, but I'm more serious about coaching, building, and enabling other people. And World Ninja Sports, our mission is to enable the world to ninja, because at some point I realized that I will prioritize that above my own training. I'll prioritize it above everything else. And so it organically happened over time that I got more and more requests to do more ninja. Training kept happening. They kept asking me to do travel or whatever. And I realized that I just wasn't doing personal training myself. Last year, for instance, I didn't compete the entire year, not one competition the entire year. And looking back at it, it was just, I'm not going to turn down building of a ninja gym or setting up a program just because I want to hang back in Austin and get my own training in. I feel more driven to enable, to help
Yeah.
others to do it.
Could you tell us how you help people? What do you do with World Ninja Sport?
Yeah, cool. The foundation for everything starts with again, that enabling people. I just want to provide whatever anybody needs on their own personal journey. So first I want to know what they're looking to do, whether it's a camp, a ninja gym, if we're going to build out a full ninja gym, if it's an add-on. We just did a mixed martial arts facility in Three Forks, Michigan, for instance. It's great. Just saw a news article. So things like this, it's like they reach out to us. I'll have a conversation. What are you looking to do? I get to learn about it. We do schools. We'll implement to schools. And the goal is always just, okay, what is your main goal? Why did you reach out to us? And then on top of that, I'll tell people, listen, we are not going to do the entertainment route. We're going to do legitimate ninja. These are the things that you must do. This is the safety component aspect of it. This is the training aspect of it. I want to make sure that everybody knows how to do it the safe way. So we're not going to just say, yeah, do it however you want. Again, like that initial request from 5-Star, build me a program. I was like, okay, but I have to also show you how to run the program. I can't just leave it. To put it simply, I want to provide the resources to make sure that people are running a good ninja system, and that could also be residential. Just got back from Stowe, Vermont. We built this huge indoor custom ninja course for a ton of kids that were bouncing all off all the stuff. And I stuck around and I made sure that they understand how to properly progress. Rips are going to happen, how to safety pad things nearby, how to block up windows because you're inside of a house, like how to not go in that direction. It's enabling people to do it safely and to move the sport forward, however that might occur. I have vendor relationships with all the main mat companies. We provide all the best stuff that way, whatever kind of mat situation, the inflatable stuff through like Tumble Track and things like that. Great vendor relationships, partnerships with places like DGS and Monstro, but we also manufacture our own equipment. I've designed a number of rigs. And so I'll present these different options to a customer and I'll say, here's one that I designed specifically for this purpose. If you want something that's suited a little bit differently, if you want these functions, we go here. Maybe this is a DGS rig. If you want something a little different from that, we go here. This is another type of rig. And we talk through, and then I just try to provide whatever they need.
You touched on this a little bit, but I would be curious to hear your perspective around, you do a lot of home builds, right? People that want ninja in their backyards or the basements. What are some common mistakes that you see people making that come around the home ninja rig?
Yeah, great question. Okay, one of the craziest that I see on a pretty regular basis is somebody will hang a single eye loop from a ceiling, right? And then just attach obstacles to that one eye loop. So to explain a little bit, if you have just one connection point, you have what are called joists in your ceiling. Okay, so a joist is a piece of wood that runs through your ceiling. If you're above it, it would be the floor underneath you, of course. That piece of lumber you're attaching an eye bolt into. If you don't hit square in the middle of that joist, if you hit a little to the side, obviously you're jeopardizing the integrity of that connection. And it's very hard to know where that joist is, right? It's very hard to know exactly where the center is. It's also, you have no idea if it's jeopardized in any other way. If previously there was a crack or any other kind of issue, people will take one eye bolt and put it up into a joist and then hang a cannonball or something from it, and then just huck back and forth. I did a build for a kid who actually, it's funny, another full circle story. I did this indoor build for this kid up in New York and like upstate-ish, Westchester. And he had the eye bolt. So let's fast forward. So what happens when you do that is eventually, even if it's a good joist, it works its way. It's being pulled left and right, and it eventually works its way out. And one day, it's a catastrophic rip. You're doing like 3 Gs of force trying to get to a lache to do something, and that eye bolt just pops, and you go flying. Maybe you land on your neck or your head or something like that. So it's very common that I show up at a house, like at this kid's house. I showed up. This eye bolt, man, you could clearly see all the drywall around it was ripped
Yeah.
out. It was doing circles. You could just touch it and it would wobble. And this kid's 6 foot something. This is a big kid. I won't call him out by name, but pretty guaranteed he's going to be watching this. And you're welcome, buddy. I'm happy you're still alive today because I went in there and I'm like, stop immediately. Don't ever do this.
Yeah.
Let's take this down. So it's not knowing how to build stuff. You might think an eye bolt, you'll see the rating on the eye bolt says weight capacity 500 pounds or something like that. Where you're not taking into account is all of the other engineering factors. We have specific obstacles that are designed, engineered to be super strong. For that one specifically, we have this thing called the Ninja attachment lane. Basically, it's a panel that goes across all of your joists. It secures into numerous connections. So there's super in-depth redundancy on making sure that you've attached into all these great places. And then there are ID rings that hang down that you can connect to that also pivot to limit how much pull that these things are taking. So a super rigid system. What I'll often see, again, whether it's indoors, where's the eye bolts, or whether it's outdoors, is people try to DIY and they don't really know the engineering side of it. They don't know how to do it the safe way. So one other thing that I'll also add, and what I like to be able to provide, I currently have an ongoing conversation with a guy building his backyard, and I'm just helping this guy out. Again, what I do, I love the sport. It means so much more to me than the money. I'll be honest with you. World Ninja Sports doing great. This is an amazing company. I love what we're doing. I like to just give the advice. This guy reached out. He's like, hey, limited budget, dot, dot. I'm like, sure, send me some details and let me just help you out. So what I want to do is give people the info and explain to them they can build stuff their own sometimes. I've helped dozens of gyms open a DIY sort of a deal, and I'll just look over the plans. I'll send them warped wall plans and stuff like that. And then they can also pay for hourly consulting. And in an hour, you can tell how much I talk. We get a lot in. I give a lot of info, and then they go do their own thing.
Yeah.
I want to give advice that helps people, basically.
Yeah, on that same note, you're talking about the DIY stuff. You pick up some of these components and hardware from like your Home Depots and whatnot. To your point, they'll say a load of 500 or whatever. But even if you hit that joist spot on and you're like in there so secure and tight, a lot of that hardware isn't built to take that rocking back and forth like that. And what'll happen too, and I'm sure you've seen it, they'll shear right off. They
Oh,
won't pull
yeah.
out, but they'll eventually just rock themselves and break right off. I maybe I've seen that in our gym once in a while, but in the early days, because you like early on there, you
You don't
don't
know
know.
until you've tried it.
Um,
When you're so
so
early on, you were the
yeah,
guy that was paving the way on these things. Oh, okay.
yeah.
I'm not going to do that anymore.
And I've
Yeah.
said it before, I've made cannonballs out of lacrosse balls,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in
That was the way to
2014.
do it. That was the
Yeah.
way to do it.
Couple of those
People
I've
don't know. These young guns don't know the struggles. There was
Yes,
no
yeah.
atomic three
I'm trying.
ball. Some of these people might not even know three ball. Three ball was like the OG original climbing hold company,
Yep.
Ninja Hold. That stuff didn't exist. Yeah. When I eventually
Yeah.
found three ball, I was like, oh my God, it's getting real. I could buy stuff. Huge. And it was just cannonballs. It was like
Yep.
different size cannonballs.
Well, looking at or talking about basement builds, things like that. How about when you're looking at a gym build? When laying out a gym, what are a couple things that you're looking at or looking for some of our wannabe gym owners or gym owners that want to expand? What are some things that you look at when you're looking at a gym build?
See, this is where there are so many things that go into a gym build. So not just equipment wise, there's just so much that goes into it. This is why Conquer is so great, right? What you've built, Jake. This is why you have such tremendous value to the community is you've already figured it out. You've got a ton of awesomely performing great ninja gyms that are packed full of the most awesome stuff because so the struggle that I have as well, or let's say the service that I'm able to provide because there's a problem, right, that I'm providing the solution to is people don't know these things. They don't know things like where to open and what the proper rental rate should be, right? If your burn rate is too high and if you don't have a complicated Excel sheet breaking down all of the P&L and the projections and what could go right and wrong, then you're taking on a lot of risk and you don't know how that's going to pan out. You need to know, when to pay for the right space, where that right space is, the right ceiling height, when to compromise the height of your warped wall for a lower ceiling height, the age groups that you want to target to, how to utilize different hours of the day for different age groups and maximize your earning potential. Because if your gym is closed from morning until 3 p.m. because you think, oh, everybody gets out of school in the afternoon, you're losing a tremendous amount of value. You're mostly closed, right? You're paying for rent and for all these other things, and then you're not getting value back during those hours. I love to help people figure that out. I love it when I can identify these spots, especially for an existing gym, where they're like, we're doing okay, but I don't know, we could be doing better. And I get to know what's going on in there. And then we pinpoint some key areas where they could add new classes and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I'm actually making money. I took off last week. I went on vacation. And I'm like, literally right now, like I just got the feels, like thinking about when I can have a conversation with somebody and then they can, for the first time in a long time, take a week vacation because we talked about how to set stuff up, how to have the right classes, how to staff properly. And now they get to live a life away from the gym. And so again, going back to what I appreciate so much about franchises as well, because people look at what we do and they're like, okay, I don't provide a franchise, but I provide advice. And so would a franchise be competitive or something? It's if a franchise is right for somebody, which is a lot of the time, I'll send you over to Jake, or we'll look at what makes the most sense. You're providing the solution to people because there are an infinite number of crazy problems that come up.
Right.
We've been through it so many times. We've figured it out. The answer for gyms is way more complicated. There's a million things that gyms need to know to open. And at the end of the day, I'll be honest though, start the gym and get going, right? Don't hesitate so much that you ruin your dream or your mission. There's a way to make it work. But it's smart if you could reach out to me, if you could leverage Conquer, if you could do anything to get some advice into the mix where you don't make some bad business decisions, then it just helps you even more. But opening a Ninja Gym is a great way to go. And I think it's just, it'll be a grind at first. There's just so many things that you have to problem solve.
Yeah, you got to look at it from a business standpoint if you want to do the gym, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's end with this. Justin, what does ninja mean to you?
Oh, did you say end? Oh man, I was having fun. Sorry, I talk so
Just
much.
get
I
on
feel
a
like I
roll.
talk so much now. I just ate up the whole hour. What does it mean to me? Try not to sound corny here, but
You can sound corny.
it's changed my life entirely. What does ninja mean to me? It was the foundation for the greatest community that I've ever found. It enabled me to have all of my best friends in ninja training and to become the strongest I've ever become in my life, physically capable of doing things that I've never done before. And then for my business, we're in a house right now that was purchased by Ninja, right? Ninja enabled me to purchase my first home, to move to Texas, to employ people. I have employees that have sent me like really heartfelt thank you letters about what World Ninja Sport has been able to provide to them because we provide the money for them, pay the bills and stuff like that. And parents that send me videos all the time about how the kids are progressing and how much it meant to them. It's hard to explain what it means to me. Listen, it's a job, but I'm really fortunate that it's so much more than that. I'm really rewarded through the ownership and the building and everything that I do in Ninja. And then on top of that, to continue to train and compete. I did actually end up competing recently for the first time in over a year. And that feels amazing. The charge that you get to be on a ninja course throughout your body. Yeah. I mean, and then to see and to know that everything that we do is positive. I'm not running an ice cream company where it's like, hey, if you eat too much of this ice cream, really, listen, I'm an ice cream like addict. I eat it every day pretty much, but in moderation, right? If you eat ice cream all day, every day, it's not good for you. If you ninja all day, every day, I think you're just getting stronger. There's like no doubt, right? It doesn't have sugar. It doesn't have fat. It's only good for you. So I just feel like my world has aligned. So what does ninja mean to me? It's like I'm in alignment with the universe through ninja. Yeah, it means a lot.
Well, it's fulfilling. Making an impact is fulfilling. That means you're making an impact.
It's the most important thing. Yeah. It's again, when I'm consulting with people, it's how do I help you? Right. Where do we need to go from here to help you? That's the only thing that matters. If I'm not helping the person that I'm working with, honestly, I shouldn't be in business. There's no reason to come to me. And so I understand that at my core, I would never want somebody to pay for something It's never a sales thing. It's never like, how much more can I sell? That's how much can I see them do? And now I feel good and the money will come with it, stuff like that. It's the value
Well,
that's provided.
yeah, absolutely. From the business side and from the ninja side and the experience side, it was I had Justin come out and help on one of our gym builds more recently, and it was a breath of fresh air to actually have somebody understanding the actual build, the construction component, the engineering, how to look at it from that angle too. That there's only a few people on the planet that honestly have that skill. There's gym owners that have built a gym, but to do that multiple times, time over time, and actually continue to improve the process, like there's not many people out there that have that. And for me, as we grow, that is part of the thing that we're always looking at too, is it's the improvement and bringing in the people that have the skill and the passion to do it. You got that going for you too.
Thank you, man. That means a lot, dude, especially because you run such a good ship there and it's so good what you've built. And so to be able to come in there and still do good for you and you can
Yeah,
appreciate the
appreciate it.
work that we do, man, huge. And I got to say, likewise, it was a pleasure because, yeah, it's sometimes we get there and nobody's done it before, but you were there. You were building with us, man. You're very hands on.
Yeah.
I love that. Appreciate that too. And so it was a beautiful build. I look forward to more with you.
So how can
Appreciate it.
people learn about you, Justin, and World Ninja Sport?
Rewatch this podcast lots of times. So worldninjasport.com. So worldninjasport.com, we have all different resources. So there's a shop you can click to find everything that you would need. We are a distributor for DGS. So for instance, anything that you need from DGS, we have. We're a distributor for Tumble Track. So anything you need from there, plus all of our own products, all there, all listed. Actually, let's put it this way. There's an infinite number of ninja obstacles. So they're not all listed on the site, but all you got to do is email me and I'll get it for you. But more importantly, we are here to support your mission and to understand what you're trying to do and then provide that advice and help you get the right stuff. So you can also contact us right on the website. You'll find the email, justin@worldninjasport.com. If you guys want to shoot me an email, feel free. Happy to answer any questions or whatever. But tell me what your goals are. Send a picture or two. Let me know what you're thinking. And then we can help you figure out what type of a build setup you'd like. And then in addition to that, we try to post fun stuff on Instagram. So Instagram @World Ninja Sport, all spelled out. Facebook too, we're there. We're on LinkedIn and YouTube posting stuff. And then I have my personal page, which is New York Ninja Warrior, all spelled out. That's more personal stuff, but definitely some ninja stuff sprinkled in there. World Ninja Sports, where you'll find more of the ninja antics that we do and tips and tricks. We'll post tips as we're building and things to help you in your ninja journey. So yeah, feel free to reach out any of those ways. And I just want to stress also, I'm like super accessible. If you see me out at an event, we go to the world's events and stuff like that, competitions, trade shows, stuff like that. Come talk. We're always approachable. Me personally, the whole team. We got a bunch of guys working with us, and we all just want to help you out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story and about your business with us today.
Thank you
Thanks,
guys.
Justin.
It's great. Appreciate it. Thank you.